My girlfriend gave me a folder titled Requirements for Marriage. I gave her a note that said, "Find a new boyfriend," and ended it right there at dinner. I was 29, sitting across from my girlfriend Bethany, 27, in a fancy Italian restaurant downtown, thinking she was about to share some big news. Maybe a promotion, maybe something special between us. Instead, she slid a folder across the table like it was a corporate meeting. Inside, neatly laminated, was a document boldly titled, Requirements for Marriage, Areas Where Derek Needs Improvement. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Laminated. Like she had walked into a print shop and said, "Yes, this needs to survive for generations." The list was long and detailed. First, she demanded I increase my salary by 40% within a year because my current income was inadequate for our lifestyle goals. Second, I needed to join CrossFit, lose 15 pounds, and have visible abs. Third, she declared my Honda Civic was no longer acceptable for marriage. She required a BMW, Audi, or Mercedes. Fourth, she included a complete wardrobe overhaul, even attaching a Pinterest board of approved outfits. Fifth, she stated I must cut off my friends Corey, Miguel, and Josh, labeling them negative influences. Sixth, gaming could only be 2 hours a week, and golf lessons were mandatory to network. Seventh, I had to limit visits to my mom to holidays only. Eighth, she expected me to begin an MBA program by next fall. Ninth, I must buy a home in a specific neighborhood within 2 years, minimum 3,500 square feet. And 10th, I was required to erase all photos with exes from social media and update my profile to display her. When I finished reading, she looked at me with serious eyes and said, "I've thought long and hard about this. These are my non-negotiables. I need to know you're serious about our future." I nodded slowly and replied, "This is really helpful." Her eyes lit up, and she smiled. "I knew you'd understand. When can we start working on it?" That's when I pulled out my phone, opened the Notes app, and typed a single line, "Find a new girlfriend." I turned the screen toward her, left a $20 bill for my drink, and walked out without another word. She started blowing up my phone before I even reached my car. I ignored everything, went home, and packed her belongings into boxes. My landlord understood completely, even helped me change the locks. I placed her things in the building mailroom with a note, "Pick up by Sunday." The audacity of treating me like some project with a laminated roadmap to earn marriage, no thanks. I was done. But that was only the beginning, because Bethany wasn't about to let go quietly. What followed was a cascade of entitled, unbelievable, and almost comical escalations that made me realize just how far she was willing to go to control the narrative of our relationship. The very next day, the fallout began. Bethany stayed at that restaurant for an hour after I left, telling other tables I was just processing and would come back. The waiter, who knew me well, later told me he nearly died laughing watching her sip wine alone. Then Friday morning, she showed up at my job lobby with a laptop and a full PowerPoint presentation called Derek's Transformation Plan. She even tried convincing my coworkers to talk sense into me. My manager Carl looked at me and said, "Bro, is this real life?" Later that day, she drove 2 hours to my mother's house, bringing along a paid couples therapist for an emergency intervention. She claimed I suffered from commitment issues and needed immediate family support. The therapist walked out once he realized I never agreed to this. Before leaving, Bethany blamed my mom for raising me to be average. My mom, a single mother who worked through nursing school, called me later fuming at the disrespect. By Saturday, her father Richard emailed me with the subject line business proposal. He offered me a management job in his company that would immediately solve the income issue on Bethany's list if I reconsidered breaking up and attended counseling. I ignored him. Then Sunday, her friend Tara showed up with a U-Haul and 3 guys, trying to take my TV, gaming console, and even my grandmother's china. Luckily, building security intervened. The madness didn't stop. Bethany updated her LinkedIn, branding herself a life coach, and wrote an article called "When You Outgrow Your Partner: A Guide to Upward Dating." Screenshots went viral, and she was roasted online until she deleted it. She later filed a complaint with my apartment office, claiming she was a spiritual tenant for 18 months. She even created a fake dating profile using my photos, pretending to be me, and sent women to my actual address. One woman, Janet, arrived shocked but ended up laughing with me over Chinese food, and even left me her number. The final straw was at my cousin's wedding, where Bethany showed up in a white dress, tried catching the bouquet, and grabbed the microphone to proclaim her love. My family dragged her out, and a judge later granted me a 2-year restraining order. Bethany's own sister eventually apologized and revealed she had pulled similar stunts with previous exes. Today, I'm living peacefully, still driving my Honda Civic, still gaming with my friends, still visiting my mom regularly. I even framed the invoice Bethany sent my mother demanding $8,743 for relationship coaching services. My coworkers use her old PowerPoint as a running office joke. Bethany wanted me to change everything about myself to earn her love. But the truth is simple: love isn't a performance review, and happiness isn't found in BMWs, CrossFit, or laminated lists. It's found in being comfortable with who you are. And right now, I'm happier than ever living my list-free life. Even after the restraining order was officially granted, I still found myself processing the entire ordeal like it had been some bizarre dream. How did a relationship that began with laughter, movie nights, and lazy Sunday mornings turn into court hearings, fake dating profiles, and laminated lists about upward living? The judge had looked exhausted as he read through the evidence, the invoice to my mom, the PowerPoint, the wedding crash. When he finally said, "Ma'am, this behavior is not normal. You must leave this man alone," it felt like a weight sliding off my shoulders. I was free, truly free. Her family tried to save face, especially her father, who eventually called to apologize for ever involving himself in her schemes. He told me he had believed Bethany's version of events for far too long. Her sister Megan, on the other hand, seemed relieved that the world could finally see the truth she had been warning about. Megan even sent me screenshots of Bethany's past escapades with another ex. The same lists, the same demands, the same pattern of trying to mold a partner into a fantasy husband. It was almost like a script she carried from relationship to relationship. What made it easier to heal was finding humor in the aftermath. My friends, the so-called negative influences Bethany wanted erased, turned the entire situation into a running joke. They created a drinking game where we took a shot every time Bethany tried a new tactic. We had to retire that game fast, otherwise we would have destroyed our livers. Instead, we laughed, ate pizza, and played games late into the night. It was in those moments that I realized she had tried to strip away the exact parts of my life that made me feel alive. The friendships, the hobbies, the simple joys of being myself. And then there was Janet, the woman who had shown up at my doorstep expecting a man obsessed with CrossFit and MBA programs only to find me in sweatpants eating takeout. She laughed harder than anyone else about the fake dating profile Bethany had created. And somehow, through that ridiculous twist of fate, she became someone I actually enjoyed spending time with. She didn't care about BMWs or laminated plans for marriage. She just wanted to share stories, play a round of Mario Kart, and see where life went without rules or demands. Months later, I found myself sitting with my mom in her kitchen, sharing coffee while she pointed to the framed invoice Bethany had sent her. Every guest who visited got to see it. My mom would smile and say, "Can you believe this girl tried to charge me for dating my son?" It became a piece of family legend, a reminder of how absurd that chapter of my life truly was. Instead of feeling bitter, I learned to laugh. I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't anger or retaliation. It's living peacefully, unapologetically, without ever allowing someone to turn your existence into a checklist. Now, I still drive my Honda Civic with pride. I still wear the clothes that feel comfortable to me. I still game with my friends until 3 in the morning sometimes. I still visit my mom every Sunday and thank her for raising me with a sense of humor and strength that kept me grounded when everything around me felt surreal. At the boxing gym, where I started training just for myself, they call me List Guy. The laminated sheet she once tried to use to control my life now hangs on the wall with a big red X across it. Everyone uses it as motivation to never let anyone else define their worth. And that, to me, is the perfect ending. Bethany wanted me to become a project, a version of myself that fit her vision of status, power, and superficial success. But I learned that real love doesn't demand you transform into someone else. Real love accepts you for exactly who you are. Honda Civic, video games, pizza nights, and all. So here's my final word. To anyone out there who ever finds themselves holding a laminated list of rules handed to them by a partner, don't panic. Don't beg. Don't let anyone convince you that your value lies in BMWs, CrossFit, or status updates. Just do what I did. Write your own list. And if that list has only one item, find a new girlfriend. Then walk away with your head high and your spirit intact. Because a life without lists, without performance reviews masquerading as love, is not only possible, it's beautiful.